What is this brief mortal life, if not the pursuit of legacy?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Green and Black. This is your buddy Mike, along with my maester friend Justin. How are you?
I'm well. I'm shocked that you think of me as a master, a maester. I think they got the rings or something. The rings around them.
That's it. You know your stuff.
That means a lot coming from you. If anyone knows this stuff, it's certainly you.
So we are here to recap and talk about House of the Dragon, Episode 6, Driftmark, where we find out that Westerosi funerals aren't much better than weddings.
Oh my goodness, you are not kidding. I mean, if I had a knife available watching this whole episode, I mean, the tension was very strong. It'd be very hard to cut it. Just from the looks, just from the stares and the looks from everybody, and just what happened. Oh man, it was a doozy.
Yeah. So I found out. I don't know. Do you watch like the making of, like, the special features and stuff that they have?
Yes, I like that, the inside of the episodes.
Yeah, so I thought it was interesting that apparently that funeral scene, the opening of this episode, was like the first thing they filmed, period.
Yes,
And where basically nobody knew anybody else. And so, like, that awkwardness that's in there is actually kind of natural due to the fact that, like, none of these people really knew anybody, and they didn't really even have their characters fleshed out yet. And they're really kind of putting them on for the first time. I thought that was a really effective way to do it.
oh yeah, I thought yes. I wonder if they planned that beforehand, like before everything starts, and just in particular why that particular scene. I don't know, but I thought that was just brilliant. I thought all the actors and actresses, they all pulled the part out. They really just did their thing. This show gets better and better. It's like wine; it gets better and better with age. And this to me is probably one of my personal favorite episodes. And just that simple fact of that particular scene, the opening scene, just the awkwardness and just the tension that everyone has. It reminded me of, me, I always going back to remind us of Game of Thrones, of the wedding of Joffrey and oh my goodness, Marjorie. Yes, and how within that one little, that was not really a big scene, but you see a lot of like people coming together that you never saw coming together. A lot of interesting side remarks or conversations. I think like with Cersei with Brianna Toff and who'll be another one. Oh my goodness, Jamie with what was it? Oh, Lord, I'm thinking of other people. But I say that because we see a lot of that in this particular episode. Like all these characters having, even with a quick 10-second dialogue. You see certain stuff happening.
Yeah, and I it reminded me a lot also. I mean, it's funny that you say that, because, like, it reminded me of Game of Thrones, like the episode Winterfell in the 8th season, where they had the big banquet at the end,
Oh
where, like,
yes,
all these other characters all came together, um, and people that you hadn't really ever seen together or really even thought about being together,
yes,
and here they all are together in one room. Daenerys and the Hound and Beric and
yes.
like Gendry
Torment.
and like all the, like, almost everybody in the show. They're all like in this one room, and there's all these little pieces and little vignettes going on. Between different conversations between different people. What's Sansa saying
The
to Jon
Hound.
and Daenerys, and what's Arya and Clegor saying, or Sandor saying, and what's all these other people saying going on. And I thought it was really kind of a very similar vibe.
Oh,
Here there
absolutely.
here's all these everybody, but they're all kind of separated off into cliques. And
Ugh.
here's Viserys and Alicent, and over here, and then over
You mean
here.
Emma, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Over here is, like, Rhaenyra and her kids, and then over here is the girls, and I thought it was like especially like where it's like like Rhaenyra tells like Jace to like go over and talk to his cousins,
Yes,
he just
yes,
talked to their
yes.
mother, go over and talk to them, and it's just like that's like normal family stuff. Like I can definitely see like any mom you and I know like doing that, like go over and talk to your cousins,
Go talk. Oh, why do I have to? Because you have
Yeah,
to just
and then he just goes over, stands there, and he's just awkward, and just doesn't even know
like
what to say
typical
to him.
preteens. That's exactly how it
Exactly.
is.
Yeah, and I think what I think the kids are really great.
Oh my goodness,
The
phenomenal.
twin, the twins, and Jace and Luke and even Aemon and Aegon, those they're really good for what they're supposed to be,
Yeah.
and really really doing a good job. And that throwdown, I don't know, it was kids. That was the throwdown.
That was a throw down. That was playing in my head. Was playing in my head with a song. Won't start no stuff. Won't be no stuff. I was shit. It was on site with those kids, and that whole scene that was just really gruesome. It just really reminded me of the Hunger Games. Like kids, they can be vicious, they can be cruel, they can be willing to kill if need be. And that whole scene, I had one eye. Of course, I went back to rewatch it once the scene happened, but that first time it was really uncomfortable, and I say that in a good way for it to be to watch. But those kids really pulled it off. They're all doing a phenomenal job. I just my heart breaks for Eamon, because I said it in the last episode. I actually had pity for him. I had pity. It wasn't right for them to be making fun of him, giving him the pig because he didn't have a dragon. I thought going into this that he's gonna be he's gonna be a good kid. He's not gonna be like a douchebag or anything. But boy, oh boy, was I wrong, man. He straight up went douche mode to the fullest. He says your mother's dead. That you guys are not even your father's not even real. You guys are really strong. He was just calling things out. He was just once he got that dragon, it was like a switch for him, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it is a big switch for him, and as it is for for anybody, and you got to hand it to him. You're going up to the biggest, crankiest dragon there is, and trying to assert yourself to it, and
Mm-hmm.
and
Somos.
yeah, and I think Vigar really recognized that. She tried to shake him off, she tried to intimidate him, she tried to
Yep.
scare him, and he
Yep.
wasn't having it. And he definitely kind of grew into himself, in that time that he was flying her around and with her and everything. And so when he came back, he wasn't taking any crap from anybody.
Yeah.
And so when Rhaena's like, you know, that was my mother's dragon. Oh, your mother's dead. And,
Oh,
I was gonna, she was mine to claim. Well, you should have claimed her then. So
yes. It's like he had like a talk with himself. Like when the parents have a talk with a child, like you need to stand up for yourself. He had that talk. Somebody said he came back like really a different person, and he really held his own. Like he was really like even when they were jumping him, he was holding his own, about to kill his own nephews. But it was just definitely a big change. That's what I like about this show. I feel like I have like the outline of the show down pat. Okay, this person's gonna be like this person's gonna be like that. This person's gonna survive. I think about with the Strong, with Lionel and Harwin. I said they're gonna last for a while. Turns they're dead, and then I'm going with Armin right now. I'm like he's gonna be like a good. I'm not saying because I feel like they're all bad or good, but I feel like he has some good intentions, some good hearts and stuff. And for me, just to see him become how he break out of the shell, become how he is now, I was just, oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting that. So I do love this about the show that it really does shatter my expectations, and I'm very excited because as someone who still hasn't read the book yet, I'm really fighting my temptations to read. I feel like I feel like I know where it's going, but I know this is gonna shatter me in so many pieces. Like the what I'm thinking is definitely not what's gonna happen.
yeah, well, I mean, one of the things to keep in mind is that we're seeing like, especially in this first season, we're seeing like all these big time jumps.
Yes.
Um, and I think we're going to see another one. I mean, because the coming attractions are like kind of a young adult age.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're taking all these moments, but I think what's really interesting is that they are taking even with these time jumps, they're taking time to develop these characters, get us invested in these
Yes,
characters.
yes.
Um, like there was a big thing with like a lot of reaction online with the ending, and with the realization that Lenore and Carl were just like just rowing off to to Essos to go live their best lives.
Yeah, they're living the best life.
Big pocket of gold and off, no names, and
Having
off they go.
having lots of goose.
That's a goose going down.
Yes.
Which is by the way, which is a big departure from the books, because in the book, Carl does actually kill Lenore,
Oh wow.
and so the fact that they change that and allow Lenore to just go off, and finally be happy without a name, without the pressure of the court, and the fact that they're a lot more tolerant in Essos of lifestyles and
Yes.
people's choices and things like that, and who people are, is kind of a good moment for them, and one of the more interesting things I think that they did in making changes.
Yeah. I thought about what you were saying um, prior to that, but I felt like the book though, as we've been saying though, it's like a recollection, a recollection, of other people's accounts of a situation. So I'm assuming that people, you know, based off of their account, they already assume, that Lena was already dead. Like, they based off of what they saw. But by us watching the shows, the actual truth telling of it. So
Exactly. They staged it so that it looks like Carl killed Lenore.
yes,
And as far as anybody knows, besides maybe 3 or 4 people, that's exactly
yes.
what happened. So that's naturally the story that's going to be told.
So that kind of destroys my other theory that I kind of want to. I was hoping that maybe down the road when the war breaks out, we might see Lanor again with his dragon coming in just to be like a for Rhaenyra and whatnot. But if we don't, I mean, like once again, I don't know what the book says, but if you don't hear from him again, if he's already assumed dead in the book, I'm assuming that he does not come back, obviously, to help out. So that kind of defeats my little theory in that regards.
Yeah, I think unless it's one of these things where it turns out that like some other character is actually Lenore, which I suppose
Mm.
is possible. But so for instance, in the book, there is another character who winds up taking sea smoke, and
Ooh.
you know, and that character is to a slight degree mysterious. Um,
Okay.
so could they tweak it a little bit? I'm sure they could. That character also has, but that character also does have a backstory and does have a brother. So, they'd have
Oh,
to do a little massaging to it.
yeah.
But, I mean, it's TV, anything's possible. And, they can really kind of do whatever they want to do.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm really see how they do that. I hope they do massage it and that we do get back. 'Cause I thought he was a good character. I genuinely liked him. He's very good hearted. He seems very valuable and noble to Rhaenyra, and she needs all the help she can get because Alicent's getting allies left and right, and not just any but powerful allies. I'm really scared about Larys Harwin, man. And not even that, but even her daughter as well too. They got some skills.
No, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and her sons will as they grow up. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and she has uh, Sir Grudge is obviously still with her, and
Oh my goodness, yes.
I kind of gotta wonder like what the Kingsguard really does, because they don't seem very good at their jobs,
They
you
are
know.
very horrible. You seeing princes losing their eyes or getting into constant fights. Even the king being pushed away, because if you caught that, which is by the way my favorite scene so thus far, that scene where they're all together and the accusations arise, but you see Alice even push her own husband, he falls to the ground, and like nobody's helping him out again. I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah, they would have lost their jobs if I was king eons ago, and that's real honesty.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what has Harold Westerling done in the whole show other than announce people walking in the room?
Oh man, that's too funny. Yeah, absolutely nothing. You
But
got
how about Allison? Like, Sir Christian, bring me his eye.
bring me his eye. She's like, but you belong to me. She was letting know that she's coming out of her shell. She's coming out of her shell, and it was wow. And then he said, I can't do that. I mean, I'm just here for your extra protector and whatnot. He knew his place. He was playing his cards right as well. But she didn't take offense to it. She was like, okay, cool. Shay, you gonna do it? I'm gonna have to man up and step up to it. She sure did. Oh man, I know she's a high tower, but she gotta have some type of Lannister in her. She reminded me so much of Cersei, so much, especially when it comes to the children. I feel like there's a theme like based off with this show and Game of Thrones is that children can be a weakness, or yeah, I'm gonna stand by that. It can definitely be a weakness. If you mess with so much children, all hell can break loose, and you could be a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah, but I think they're really like pushing this idea of our children are like what we leave behind, and like we live on through our children. Like that seems to be there's the quote that I play at the beginning of every one of these episodes, which was from this episode. Where Corlys is like, what is life in this mortal life if not the search for legacy?
Yes.
And he's there and he's talking to his wife and the music's building up. I'm like, he's gonna say the thing. He's gonna say the thing. This is when he says the thing. Cue the Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Yes, I'm looking at it. He said it. He said the thing. He said it.
But that's really what this show so far seems to be about. Is like, yeah, we're preparing. It's all about our legacy, and it's all about what follows us and how we live on, how our names live on through, our children and our grandchildren, and all that stuff like that. Because Corlys is all about preparing a world and making sure that there's a Valarian in that world.
He really wants that. And I think his wife called him out on that as well too. Like, what's her name? Rhaena. I always get it. His wife's name.
Rhaenys.
Rhaenys. Thank you. All right, Rhaenys. Yeah, she's not a fool. She called him out on that too. She said, you know what? This is not about me. Me having the crown on that. I should have had it. This is all about you. What you really want and whatnot. She called him out on that. But to even go back to what you say in terms of legacy, you just remind me about there is a big theme in regards to legacy, pass it on for your children, or just pass it on your name once you are passed away. Because Viserys brought that up a few episodes ago with the master. What was either the master or the hand? I'm trying. I think it was probably with Lionel. So it was with the hand. When he says, "Do you think they will remember me for being good for a king and whatnot?" So it's very interesting that you said that, and just to see Corlys, his take on what legacy is. And he's stopping at nothing. I feel just the fact that he's willing to give Driftmark to Rhaenyra's and Laena's children who are not his. Everyone knows. It's been said multiple times in this episode. Just look at them. They're not his. They're not his. But not towards his actual bloodlines from Lyanna's two daughters. That speaks a lot. I feel like that's a lot of pride that he has to not be willing for the sake of legacy.
Yeah, and it's funny, when the fact that he's sitting there and he's talking to Luke and he's like, your brother's going to be king, and this will be yours.
Yes.
And Luke's like, I don't want it.
Pretty good.
I don't want it.
I don't want to know. I thought instead I got triggered. Mr. Jon Snow.
Luke walks so that Jon Snow could run, you know?
I love it. You better trademark that, Mike. Trademark that real fast. Luke walks so
I
that
don't
Jon Snow
want
can
it.
run. I don't want it.
But that's twice we've seen that, right? It's like, because we saw that last week with Aegon, you know,
Oh yes,
where he's
yes.
like, where she's like, you know, Alicent is like, you know, you're a challenge, and he's like, then I won't be a challenge. I won't challenge her. You know, it's
Let
like,
him have it. I was
let him
going
have
to
it, and you know, and now you see, you know, Luke is kind of in the same boat, who's kind of just like, I don't want it, you know, I don't, and Lenore, who's like, I don't want this, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like going back to Luke though, but Luke is just his very heartfelt reason. He stated that because if I get this, that means everyone is dead around me, and that's a really harsh truth.
Yeah,
Like
if I'm the
wow,
Lord of Driftmark, then everybody's got to be dead, you
yeah,
know, and that's, you know, yeah, that's, and nobody, you know, people don't think about that. You know, sure, Joffrey wasn't thinking about that,
well,
you
definitely
know.
not. He was excited.
You know,
That's dead cool.
nobody was really thinking. That's a good point.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. It's just wow, and I feel that's a good way just to really play with our emotions. Like this series has a definitely way to just to play with our emotions, get our hopes up because it's a reality. Like we for these past few episodes, we have really grown up. Well, I can't speak for everyone. I've grown up really attached to these characters. I care about them. They're very complex, but that's what makes them even more enjoyable. So this is to see them, potentially just even die off. It's gonna be painful, but this is I keep on reminding myself this is still in the lore of Game of Thrones, so don't get too attached to anyone. People don't get to those who are listening. Do not get attached. Don't have favorite characters. Just watch objectively because you might hurt yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you know, your favorite character is already dead. Just think
Yes,
about it
a
that
few
way.
of them died already, and then I get some new ones, and I'm like, oh my goodness, all right.
Remember when we were? When you and I went to Boston to see you know, the Game of Thrones live, the
Yes,
Ramin Djawadi thing. So Justin and I went a few years back. I think it was right after, like between season 6 and season 7.
yeah, season
Uh,
7.
Ramin Djawadi, who is the composer for Game of Thrones and for this show, was doing a live tour, and he'd go around to all these places with a orchestra, and they would play the music live.
Incredible.
And during one of the intermissions, they had up on the big screens, they did like an Oscar in memoriam for all the characters who had died
Yes,
at that point.
up to that point, and it was a
They
it was a lengthy one.
had the Bear and the Maiden Fair playing, and they were just showing like all these people, and it's like, oh man, remember him? Remember that guy? Remember that
Yes,
guy?
go too soon. That I really had a chuckle because they know that's at that time this is show that's where he gets his meat from. Like you're not expecting to live long in this show, and people die in the most gruesome ways. But I don't think nobody can beat the way I think going back to Lena. That was a powerful way to die. She didn't. She
Yeah.
got,
No, absolutely. And that was, you know,
no,
her
the
own
G.
choice and her own agency.
Yeah. So that was pleasant.
I think we need to maybe pour one out for that poor guard in Driftmark who, you know, got snuck up on and killed by Damon and then burnt to a crisp
Yes. Rest in peace.
so
Yes.
that he could pretend to be Lenore.
Yes. Which reminds me, it's so funny. I'm telling you, that's what they do all the time. They did the same thing with Brand and Rickon. They took the two farmers' boys, and you gotta have a scapegoat. You gotta have someone to take
Well,
that
we need a
blame.
couple bodies. That
All
guy
right, let's
works.
go. He was just minding his own business, He's just going for a nice little walk, Out of nowhere, letting him know he was not coming back home anytime soon.
Damon puts on his, you know, murdering hood and
Oh yeah, it really is like that. Oh my goodness, like with his wife and now this person. So anytime now I know going moving forward, if I see him wearing a hood,
you see Damon in the hoodie, you know it's going to be trouble.
it's definitely trouble for someone around him. So it can be expected. I'm just, I have my eye on Damon right now though. I really do because I said this last time. I'll say it again. I just can't get a full read on him. Like I do believe that he does. Like I believe that he does have feelings. He does have emotions for Rhaenyra. Obviously, we see that. We see them with that intimate scene they had, along with them actually getting married. at the end of the episode. But I feel like something. I don't know if he gets an opportunity to see some moment for him to have a gain in power or have the ability to have the Iron Throne for himself, where he's on top. I feel like he will definitely put Rhaenyra's, in the front row. He'll throw her under the bus or the carriage in this state.
Yeah. So, and I think that we're going to see Daemon be, Rhaenyra's greatest champion, and really kind of be at the power, because once Viserys dies, this thing goes into over.
He dies.
You're killing me.
Sorry.
Not Viserys.
I can't believe. I mean, he's a champion because I thought he would be dead by episode 3, but here we are, episode 8, and the man's walking around. He's limping around. But
my prediction still stands that he's going to go in episode 9.
Yeah, I want that to be. I think you are right, but at the same time, I don't want that to be true because then I feel like it's gonna be very predictable because that's kind of how it was with Game of Thrones. Like, okay, the penultimate episode of the season, you expect a big major death or so whatnot, and I want us to surprise. Like I'm hoping he might die. I'm hoping he might die even like next episode.
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe this show does episode 8 as the big episode. You know, even in Game of Thrones, they throw a curveball every once in a while.
That's true.
Hard Home was episode 8. It wasn't episode
which I watched
9.
yesterday. I was thinking of you.
I love that episode. It is such a great episode.
So good, masterpiece.
But remember this. This whole Dance of Dragons thing doesn't really start until Viserys is dead.
That is very much true.
So up until that point, this is just really all prologue and getting us used to the characters and kind of setting, the pieces on the board. But the game doesn't really start until after Viserys is dead, and now, somebody needs to take over.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Otto Hightower, who I can't. Mike, I can't stand him. I'm so upset that he's back. And he's so mischievous, and he's just as bad as he was before, And I feel like, I feel like he's gonna step it up like 100 times. Well, the moment Viserys breathes his last breath, he's gonna go into full action mode.
Yeah, but you got to hand it to Otto for stepping up and taking care of his stupid drunk grandson.
Oh, that was funny. That scene was funny. He looked around to make sure he was able to do it.
Anybody here? All right. Time to be a grandpa.
Yeah, because that's treason. You can't hit a prince like that, even though that's your grandchild. But yeah, that was funny. And I know, and that's about it. I feel like, and I'm pretty sure Aegon's gonna have a big role, but I feel like Aemon's gonna be bigger. Like he's gonna portray to have a bigger role moving forward than Aegon. Just like I thought, like kind of like with Harwin Strong, I felt like in the beginning, Harwin Strong's gonna play a bigger role than what's his name, Larys. But now, obviously, Larys is now the head of his castle. He's right beside Alicent's side. He's playing a much bigger role, and it goes back to that theme of second son. So I'm paying attention to all the second sons. Everyone that's a second son, I'm paying attention. From Daemon to Coriolis' brother to Luke. So I think Luke is the younger one. I'm paying attention to them all. Am I hitting in the ballpark, Mike? I know you read the books. Am I hitting in the ballpark?
That's not a bad plan.
I hear it in your voice.
That may not necessarily be a bad plan.
Okay, I'm gonna stick with it then. I'm gonna run with it.
Yeah, I mean that could definitely work for you.
Oh, now you got me. I'm gonna be like that. What's his name? Charlie. He's the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Where he has that billboard, all those papers and stuff. That's the meme I'm gonna be right. This whole.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, this one is second son. He's gonna be like this second son. All right, let's see. Because I know, oh man, it's gonna be so. Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I just can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I think it's gonna get paid off in a lot of ways, and I just, oh,
Yeah, so and there's definitely, depending on obviously what they do and how close they hew to the book, obviously, um, it has the possibility of getting really really interesting with all these things because there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of power shifts and power trade-offs, and it's kind of really nobody wins and nobody loses kind of thing, and
yeah,
um, a lot of people wind up dead, I think.
oh yeah. Well, spoiler alert. I mean, if you watch Game of Thrones, we obviously know all the Targaryens are gone. I don't. I think it might be just because from the start of this, you got the last people is Daenerys, her brother, and obviously Jon Snow. Oop, for those who don't watch Game, you didn't hear that, but you hear that. So something has to happen in the past just to make it be where it is. You just don't. A family line does not become extinct by
Right, but also think about it. I mean, there's really not a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? Like think of okay, how many Targaryens are there? You have Viserys, you have Rhaenyra, you have Daemon, you have right now you have Rhaenyra's 3 kids.
When
You
you think
have
about the
Daemon.
people,
You have Daemon's daughters. That's really it.
well, so I go
Or
back to where here is.
And Viserys's 3 kids.
Well,
You know,
when they go back to when we had all those people with the claims and stuff. There was like over like 14 to 17 claims to the throne. So I'm assuming, maybe I don't know because I could have been in a little while that there was more Targaryens back then that should still be around now. I could be listen. I don't know. So please correct me if I'm right or wrong in that regard. That's how I'm assuming. I feel like there's probably more cousins than just Bernice,
right? But these are like the
But those are the main ones. I understand.
yeah, these are like the main, like the kind of like the main line ones. Um, and and some of those claims were Valarians.
Yeah, because they're like distant cousins, right?
Right, and then there were some who were um, like people who had were claimed to be like Jaehaerys' son, but weren't
Oh yes, out of
necessarily.
wedlock.
Some of them were like bastards.
Yeah.
Um, there were 14 of them altogether, but there were really only like 6 serious ones.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
Because they were either half brothers or half Targaryens or quarter Targaryens or blah 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 blah. So most of them didn't really you know. I mean the real ones were obviously um, Viserys, Rhaenys.
Yep. Yep.
Those are really kind of
Technically Emma, because they're cousins.
yeah, but she wasn't really in the running.
Okay. She was just there. They had to produce babies. Sorry, that sounds so not right. So
Yeah,
yes.
and like Laenor was one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like they put forth Laenor, because
Really? I mean, he is a
he was a
Targaryen.
direct line descendant of Jaehaerys. You know what I'm saying? It's like there was everybody was basically throwing their name in. Um, there was Vagon who was Jaehaerys' son, but he was a maester, so he really couldn't do it.
Oh, he
I
grew
mean,
his titles. Yeah.
so there were other people like that too.
Oh wow, that's wow. That's really interesting on that. Oh, all this power and this discussion on it just really makes you really think and whatnot. And it's really, like I said, I wish I had an ability just to read these characters' minds. Like, what are they really thinking? What do they really want? Like, it's not like I didn't even think about what Alice is. She's so dead set now of her children being the heirs of the Iron Throne. And because at the point she was just like her son. Like she didn't care. She understood and respected Viserys' choice to pick Rhaenyra to be the heir. But she heard the father Otto did his thing, and I feel like he really did brainwash her, manipulate her to really thinking that you have a right to it. And now we're seeing all of this, and I just keep on thinking about the big scene, that big scene where everybody's together, because that's still just that to me was probably the best scene of the series so far. Like I was just really blown away, just how everybody's acting, like seeing first Rhaenyra being on the defensive side, when Allison was calling her out about her son's eye, to when her son told him what Aemon said, she was straight onto the attack mode, and she went down to business. And then I know you have your favorite quote, I think from Corey's, but my favorite quote is Rhaenyra talking to Allison after she's trying to stab, take the eye with the cat's paw dagger, and she says so subtly, she goes,
"Now they'll see you for who you are."
Yes, and now they see you for who you truly are. That was great, A+. Oh man, I want that to be a text message ringtone for me. So every time somebody texts me or calls me, you just hear, and now they see you for what you truly are.
You flouted all duty, please.
Alicent, let her go!
Where is duty? Where is sacrifice? It's trampled under your pretty foot again.
Release the blade, Alicent.
And now you take my son's eye. And to even that you feel entitled. Exhausting, wasn't it? Hiding beneath the cloak of your own righteousness. But now they see you as you are.
Yeah, and you see that Rhaenyra's not out of it. She's still in it. She's still looking for opportunity. Still, and she sees an opportunity here where, in front of all these people, like Allison has kind of lost her mind a little bit.
She did. She exploited her on that. That was an excellent move on Rhaenyra's part. She saw that and she took it on there. She said she wanted to know where was the stand was coming from. And then, Viserys exercising his right as king with his own children. I thought that was very funny. So your king's talking to you, like, oh, okay. And they said it, but she did go crazy. She tried to take out the hand, but that definitely shows. So it's game on. And I don't know if you noticed it, but that divide towards the end, you see on one side Rhaenyra with Daemon coming towards her two children, Coriolis, and on the other side, Allison along with her children, Kristen Cole. I was like, yeah, this is it. This is game on.
They're definitely drawing the lines. They're getting the whole thing set up.
Yes, it's so good. I can't wait. I'm just, that was wild. That was really good.
Yeah, and also, keep in mind, like this also kind of affects the balance of power a little bit, because if you suppose pre this episode that should have come down to it that Daemon would be on Rhaenyra's side, right? He'd be on the Blacks,
right?
And then you would assume his wife would be with him and with her dragon.
Yeah, Vhagar. That's a big. Oh my goodness! And now that Aemon has Vhagar,
right? And so the balance of power becomes, just a little kind of more, a little kind of more even.
Oh, absolutely. He said it. He says, "Okay, Mom." He said, "I may have lost an eye, but what I gained is much more valuable. I gained a dragon, making the prophecy of Helena's prophecy come true." And Otto confirming that. He said, "What he did really helped us in the long run." Otto's very, very confident that they will succeed and claiming, conquering the Iron Throne from Rhaenyra's grasp. So it really is making good for good television, good entertainment, a bloody fight down the road. Oh no, that dragon that's a big dragon.
And that's what I'm saying. Like they had, Rhaenyra's, Team Rhaenyra, the Team Black, whatever. They basically had almost all the dragons.
Yeah.
And, so with Vhagar going over to Team Green, not only is she the oldest, the biggest, the most experienced dragon, so she could take out, maybe a couple of those other dragons, especially, the younger ones.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be wild. Oh, I can only imagine.
That's a big get for Team Green there.
A big play. That's like the Tom Brady of Tom Brady of dragons. Although Tom Brady's not doing all that well right now, but that's a story for a different podcast.
That's the wrong podcast.
Wrong podcast at the wrong time. But you get what I'm trying to say. Whew. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. And you know what? Rhaenyra, she was really good. She talked to Daemon. She was really vulnerable. She says, I needed you. You abandoned me, but you know what? Let's make this work this time. Both, make a way to get married. They got, they provided a plan for Laenor to, to have his life so that she could be free to be married and make their bloodline stronger. I know, spoiler alert for anyone. I do know that they do have children, so that's gonna be interesting. And I'm not wondering, like I said, I don't know, but I wonder if Daemon is gonna push for his child, if it's a boy, with Rhaenyra, to be on the Iron Throne rather than her other two, and then if that might cause conflict.
Possibly, but then the other thing is the way people always dying around here. There's always going to be opportunity for promotion, maybe.
Oh no! I like those kids. Oh man, I think that's gonna really shock me. If that stuff like that happens, if people get promoted, quote unquote, that's gonna really shock me. But I know from people that read the book, they say, oh, if you thought what they've been doing right now was cruel, I've seen nothing yet. Mike, can you confirm that?
Oh, absolutely. There is, and I won't tell you who, but there is at least one major character who feeds at least another major character to their dragon alive.
No way. No way. No way.
Yep.
Do you think we're going to see this in season 2?
No, I would imagine that would be probably closer to the end of the series, I would think.
Oh my goodness. That is wild. Oh man. I want to hear from y'all too for watching, please, because I'll be looking at your comments. What do y'all think about that? Because that just blows my... Because now I'm just really trying to figure out, who is this going to be? We got all these main characters. And that's why I'm so scared, because I feel like whoever's main characters are really not really main characters. The ones I always think legit die off. Rest in peace, Laena and Harwin, because I really thought those were some main players that's going to help out in the long run, but you know how they are. So this is going to be interesting. Oh, that's vicious. That's cruel. I'm sorry.
Seriously.
I wonder what the context of that is. Like, oh my, okay, all right. I am interested though, just to seeing the fate of Alicent, seeing the fate of Otto Hightower. I hope Daemon might be the one. Maybe that would be awesome to see Daemon feed Otto Hightower to a dragon. That would be satisfaction. Because believe it or not, I'm a fan of Daemon, man. He does some horrible stuff, but he makes things interesting. I don't know if it's toxicness. I don't know, but he's a fan. I'm a fan of him.
Yeah, no, he's definitely he is definitely an interesting character and one you want to definitely keep your eye on.
Oh, definitely. I'm not aiming. I have two eyes, so I have both my eyes on him, like a magnifying glass. I'm watching him. I'm trying to dissect his motives because I still believe that he's doing all this for a reason. He's playing for the long run. I think I heard someone say that. Yeah, someone said or wrote it that he's 2 steps ahead, and I agree. Whoever said that, I do believe it. I feel like we need to give him more consideration of the doubt because he's smarter than what he's letting on to be, and I feel like a lot of people they're underestimating him. I feel like someone like Otto Hightower is definitely underestimating him. And I think that quote that he said to Otto, he says, the leech get fatter, but yet they still want another meal. Like that was definitely cold, but very good. I love the fact he's like, you better watch yourself because I think he's gonna surprise people. David is aware he's been on. He separates him from Viserys is that he hasn't been kept in the bubble of the Red Keep. But he's been around, the world. He's been around different areas. He knows what the real world is like. You see that how he's even showing Rhaenyra when she was young about the things with the commoners and stuff. So he knows his stuff. He knows what he's doing. People ask me if I'm Team Green or Team Black right now. I'm Team Nobody, but I might join to be Team Damon, even though I don't trust him.
Yeah, okay.
Switches every week though. So this week I'm Team Damon.
All right, so we're looking forward to next week, to this episode coming up. But I hate to say it, man. We're like starting to head down the back slide,
Oh, I'm so emotional right now, man. I know. And HBO, HBO. If you're listening to this, please start casting. You guys have the material right now. Please don't just be like a 2024, 2025 release. And I know that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a long one, but I don't want that. It's gonna be, so that's gonna make me really sad because I'm really invested right now. I really want to see what happens, what's going on, but speed it up. Don't make it too long.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were pretty quick to announce it, but you still. They still need to do it. I mean, they're not going to start working on it until probably early next year. So, I think they're planning on filming from like March to June of next year.
Oh,
so
man.
You're probably not going to see it until like mid to late 2024.
Mid to late 2024. I'm okay. I'm crying right now.
It's like, man, I gotta keep living.
I know. You see how this world is. There's so many crazy stuff happening, man. I'm like, okay, can I? Hopefully, I can afford it. I'm just gonna have to just stay in the house for like another year, just to ensure safety. Hopefully, and my house doesn't collapse.
Food.
Yeah, that's all I need is food and water. Because I need to know. That's what makes me want to read the books now because I need to know. I need to know, and I'm trying my best. But I think I can do it. A year's not that bad. If it's just like a year, yes. Don't make it 2 years.
Well, it'll be probably a year and a half, a year and 3/4 from when this season ends to when the next one starts.
All right, I'll try.
Which is okay. I mean, that gives us like a year, and then time to rewatch.
Absolutely.
And fall back into it.
Absolutely. I can't wait for that. Oh,
and then supposedly they're still doing the Jon Snow show. The Jon Snow show. It's the Jon Snow show.
Yeah, featuring The one who knows nothing.
Whatever that series is.
Now, is it gonna be a series, or is it gonna be like a mini series or a movie, like how they did with Breaking Bad? They did like a post movie, like El Camino.
No, it's gonna be a series, like a regular series.
Wow, the actual seasons.
An actual series with actual seasons, yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
And there's also, think about it, there's also a possibility. So here's a couple things. You could wind up seeing Daenerys. You could wind up seeing Daenerys in a flashback. But also, I gotta say
it.
It's the nerd rule, right? No one ever really dies. We've seen people come back to life in Game of Thrones.
That's what I was gonna say. I heard a big theory that Drogon took the body of Daenerys to one of the Red Priestess.
Yeah, there's a lot of magic going on over there in Essos.
Yes, but what will be the importance of the resurrection of Daenerys? That's what I want to. That's what I want to understand, because the whole point of her, I feel like the whole point of her story was for her just to have that one goal to claim the Iron Throne. And now that the Iron Throne, newsflash, is melted, is gone, what's the purpose of her coming back if that was the case?
I don't know. I'm just saying it's possible.
I know. I would love that.
I'm not even saying it's going to be a good idea. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things there's a lot of could-be's.
It is a lot of could-be's. I heard. And the main, recurring characters. Bring back Joffrey for all we know. I'm kidding. I can't.
Joffrey,
I already know people are flipping out. I'm causing trouble. But I'm looking forward to that too. Hopefully that comes out. Oh, you know what is coming out though? And The Last of Us. And I feel like that might be a good that's gonna be a good series, like a distraction series. I shouldn't say distraction because it's gonna be in its own right. That's gonna be like phenomenal. So, but that's definitely gonna be 2023. So, I guess that will help. That will hold me over.
And it's funny because I was just thinking, like when you're like bring anybody back, I was just thinking about, bring
Orion.
No. What the heck's her name?
Mormont.
Yeah, Lena Mormont. Bring that little badass back.
Oh, she's amazing.
But she's in The Last of Us. That actress.
Her and Orion. Yes, she's playing Joel. She's playing Ellie. Yes.
Ellie, yeah. No, yeah, and Pedro Pascal's playing Joel, right?
Yeah. That's I can't believe that. 2 Game of Thrones, big Game of Thrones characters playing characters and the main characters of The Last of Us. So I'm gonna be looking forward to that. I still have to replay the game. Team PlayStation, Mike. You still gotta get PlayStation, Mike.
Yeah, do I know?
Yes, maybe. Well, now you can watch the show since the show's gonna be based off the game. So yeah. Well, yeah, it's gonna be that. I always say this: what a time to be alive. We got the amazing shows like House of the Dragon and all these other shows where we can just break them down, dissect them, and whatnot. But the House of the Dragon, I know the show's not over yet, but it's really hitting every expectation that I have for it. And I had it low, but it's really exceeded and beyond because I had PTSD from the previous the last seasons of Game of Thrones. But
yeah, absolutely. And it's way better than it had any expectation of being.
Yes.
And it's going to be interesting to see what they're doing what they do going forward with it. I mean, do I think in total, like, is it a better show than Game of Thrones? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I was thinking like that too.
Game of Thrones, especially that first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones, was some of the best stuff that's ever been on television. In terms of production values, in terms of its development of characters and storytelling, and just the language and the scripts and the writing.
Yeah.
But this show's really good. And
it's really, really good. It's
gotten, in a very short time, it's gotten off the ground and gotten gotten really good. I don't think Game of Thrones, first season really started hitting this quickly.
Yeah, like I think 10 million viewers first episode of House of Dragon. 10 million. So that says a lot. It's been growing ever since.
HBO's really hitting. I mean, they've got some really good shows going on, and
They do.
they're doing okay for themselves.
I'm not mad.
I'm not either.
Yes.
All right, so we will talk to you folks next week. Justin, I will see you in a couple of days.
Yes, you will. New York Comic Con.
New York Comic Con. Justin and I will both be in attendance.
Yes. Sadly, no House of the Dragon cosplay, but next year I'm really thinking that.
Well, don't count your dragon eggs before they're hatched, okay?
Okay, yep. Okay.
But yeah, maybe we'll drop a report or two from the floor, and but in the meantime, we'll catch you guys on the backside of the next episode.
Yes. See you guys.